Hello and welcome back to Big Data Week in Chicago. I'm Sebastian James, your city leader here. Before we get started with Ankur Gupta, we want to talk about a few things, mainly some things that his company Metascale is offering. On Saturday, right here at Blue 1647, Metascale, known as Big Data Made Easy on Twitter, is offering a free one-day Hadoop seminar from 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. right here at Blue 1647. If you're interested in moving into this sector, if you're interested in changing careers and you see this might be a direction that you want to go, if you're just really geeky and you'd like to investigate more, this is where you'd like to be Saturday from 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. Once I get off the screen here, I'll tweet the link to the event invitation. You can check it out and take advantage. It's going to be a great event. Another thing, all of our Big Data Week presenters videos will be available for you to watch on demand at any time over the next few weeks. At some point, we're going to move these to Blue 1647's YouTube site. I will go ahead and tweet when we make that move so you can access them later, because a lot of good information has been shared from a lot of really great companies and really great presenters. So now let me move on to our next presenter. Ankur Gupta is the general manager of Metascale. He's going to be here for two presentations. We're going to take a short 10-minute break in between the first one and the second one. The first thing we're going to look at is business intelligence use cases, and I'm going to turn it over to Ankur.
Thank you, Sebastian.
All right.
Thanks a lot. Okay, hi everyone. I'm excited to be here, and thank you all who is joining us live right now or going to watch us later as a recording. So today we're going to talk about Hadoop in action business intelligence use cases. So before I go into that, let me introduce you to what Metascale is, or who we are, and a little bit of story about how we were formed as a company. So Metascale is a wholly owned subsidiary of Sears Holdings Corporation, the holding company that you know as Sears Retail, Kmart, Kenmore Craftsman, DieHard, and Shop Aware Ward. So Sears, as you know, is a large retailer. What you may not know is Sears is also the largest home services company. So we get a lot of data from many sources. And we started, Sears as a company started on Big Data Initiative about nearly 5 years ago, when many other companies didn't even know about big data and Hadoop technologies or were even thinking about it. So we started early. We wanted to make sense of that data. We wanted to understand our customer better and provide them, make a digital engagement with them so we can not only understand them better, but provide them customized offering and products that they're looking for. So because we started early, we had to go through a lot of challenges, and we had to learn a lot of things. Not a whole lot of support was available at that time. So moving a large enterprise into and implementing big data tool in a large enterprise was quite a bit of challenge. So because we had a head start, we learned it, we got over it, and now fast forward a couple of years later, now we are somewhat an advanced practitioner in this area with multi-hundred nodes of Hadoop cluster and several petabytes in data and all kind of implementation, not just Hadoop. Our big data technologies include Cassandra, Storm, Kafka, latest and greatest machine learning, AI, and whatnot. So because of our leadership in this area, we started getting requests from other companies to help them with their big data need. And we formed Metascale as an organization to do that. So Metascale is actually your strategic partner that is born out of a large retailer, a large enterprise, and because of that, a very large IT shop. This team understands how to implement big data in a medium to large enterprise. We understand enterprise-related challenges. We understand what it takes to what it takes to move from or bring big data tools and technologies in your existing EDW system, how to build that whole ecosystem, how to bring business and IT together and whatnot. And we'll talk more about it. I'll be happy to show you some use cases, which is a topic of our discussion today, of how we have done it, not only within our Sears ecosystem, but also to several of other vendors outside. So let's see. The first slide here shows is from a recent Wikibon survey. A large number of companies have realized that there is value in big data tools. However, equally large number of companies, 46% of big data practitioners said that they have realized only partial value from their big data implementation. In fact, 2%, according to Wikibon, said that their implementation completely failed. They get no value. It was just waste of effort and investment. And according to Wikibon, there were 3 main reasons behind this failure or partial success. One was lack of skilled big data resource. We know Hadoop and big data related technologies are still somewhat new. It's not something that people have been doing it for 20, 25 years. And there are very few companies like ours that have experience in implementing these tools in an enterprise. A lot of vendors will tell you that they have done it, but have they really done it in a large enterprise? So, and that's the key. So you really don't have a lot of people with a real experience. And that's one big reason why it fails. I guess number 2, raw and relatively mature technology, I think Hadoop is far over it, in my opinion. So that's really not the problem we are seeing today. This survey was done some time back. But number 1 and number 3, which is a lack of compatible use case, business use case. And that's one big reason why we've seen companies fail in their big data effort, because they don't always take time beforehand to establish success criteria for them. What happens is sometimes a senior management will go into a certain summit, or some vendor would call them, and they will go ahead and ask their team to say, go ahead, launch this big data tools, and this will do wonder because we saw it in action there and whatnot. And really, I mean, at that time, you're pretty much executing orders and may not be taking time to go about realizing the value that those implementation will bring. I'm, I guess, over-exaggerating the case here a little bit, but the key here is it's really, really important to understand, define success. It's really important to identify the business use cases that a big data implementation or big data tools will solve for you, because like it or not, it's not going to do everything for you. There are certain things that Hadoop and other big data tools do very well, and there are other things that your current or otherwise ecosystem will be able to do it for you. So we'll go more into it. At Metascale, we are very, very familiar with these challenges because, as I said before, we come from a large enterprise. We were born after actually we saw Hadoop and other big data tools in action. So we have experience in building Hadoop skills, experience in putting actually workload into production. So as part of our offering, we provide custom solutions. So if you're looking to build Hadoop and other big data tools and technologies in your current ecosystem, we have several years of experience in doing it in a large IT shop. So I guess most other IT shops are a subset of what we have seen at Sears and many of our customers. So we have a vast and deep experience in it. But third, that what I see the most value we have is identifying and building use cases. And that's where we consider ourselves a strategic partner for other companies. We are not putting a solution, a Metascale solution or a Metascaleized solution for you. We don't have a software that we are saying, go ahead, implement it, and it will solve all your problems. What we tell our customers is or our potential clients is take small steps. Identify the use cases, identify success criteria, see it in action, and then move forward with the long-term strategy. So now I think I'm going a little bit back here, but I want to establish that Hadoop is no more just a hype. We have seen it in action at Sears and many other organizations that we've supported. And it can help you solve, it can help you make sense of data in a very cost-effective, in a very, in a manner that your current EDW may not, or may not in a cost-effective manner. Hadoop allows you to ask questions that you were not able to ask before. It allows you to archive the data but analyze it at the same time. And if you think about this, it's actually a fairly strong statement. So Hadoop is able to able to give you insights that were not available to you cost effectively. So the main point here is these tools there are some real use cases, big use cases that we have seen around big data tools like Hadoop and other technologies. And we notice for real, and it's no more a hype. So what do you need to do in order to achieve big data success? Well, you need to bring in IT and businesses together. You cannot do big data implementation in silos. The big data consumption may be on the marketing, finance, or other businesses side, but implementation is generally on IT side. And it's really important that both functions are coming together to have a successful implementation of your big data tool. As I continue to say, you need to identify the use cases. You need to see how Hadoop will fit into your environment, what it can do, but also what's important to understand is what it cannot do for you. And then have realistic success criteria. So taking a small step, achieving small success, and then implementing and growing your implementation from there could result into some really big results, some really eye-opening results, as we have seen for many of our customers. All right, so let's jump into some interesting use cases now. First is product perception and brand sentiment analysis. So our life is bombarded with digital media today. Our interaction, unfortunately, I say it, we talk less in person, more on Facebook and other social media. So our lives are becoming more and more digital. We go to a store, we buy something, go to a restaurant, we didn't like something, guess what we do? We're not calling our friends and ranting about it. We go on Facebook, Twitter, whatever else out there, and then talk about it. So there are, for any company, there are your customer or potential customers who are talking about you, talking about your brand, talking about their experience, and kind of bring their sentiments out. So it's important that these channels are becoming more and more important today than ever. And because of big data technologies, it's becoming cost effective. It's becoming possible to actually be able to gather all of the data all over the world across all channels and be able to make sense out of it. So what are the challenges? So for one of the brands, we actually, what we did for them was, the challenge was the organization was using legacy data. And it was not legacy system. And it was not possible to utilize those tools to be able to extract all the data. There are multiple components to this. You want to be able to extract the social media data. You want to be able to store it cost effectively. Then you want to be able to process it and then visualize it. So all these steps were not possible using your typical ecosystem, or not possible cost effectively. So I will jump on the architecture immediately. So here what we did, we got data from various social media sources. And then we acquire the data and put it on Hadoop. And I've shown here both Hadoop on cloud on-premise. We continue to ask this question, which is better? It's depending on your specific situation. If you prefer cloud, if you're okay with multi-tenant server or sharing your data, and okay with the data latency could be an issue there. But if you need to keep data close to certain periphery, close to your within your ecosystem, then probably on-premise is better. But there is no magic formula to either. So anyway, so putting the data on Hadoop, and that's the key here, and then moving it to Hive, and from there, we were able to put visualization tool, and I'll show you the kind of insights we got. So here you see different dots. What we did for one brand, for one beverage brand, we looked at their family of brands and what people are saying about those brands. So we were able to extract information about different brands. So simple information like how many people are tweeting about your brand X versus brand Y. So that kind of gives you some insight into whether brand X is more famous or not, or what certain days when people talk about brand X more or otherwise. So you could say, I did the Super Bowl ad, and then immediately after that, you could 3 hours or certain time after the Super Bowl, you can see how people are really talking about your brand. You can actually get that somewhat unstructured data and then put business rule around it so you can understand the sentiment of people. So are there negative sentiment associated with that brand? Are people ranting about that brand, or are they happy about it? What are the major keywords that people associate with your brand? So for a beverage company, would you say it's fresh, it's salty, it's sweet? There could be many keywords, but the point here is you have the ability to to be able to get all the data that's out there, be able to process it, be able to make sense of it. So I think in today, especially, that's a key for you to also understand your customer better, because your customers are not just coming to your establishment, whether that's a store for a retailer or a restaurant for a restaurant business or something else. They are going on Facebook, they are going on other social media, and they're talking about it. So it's important that you capture the sentiment of your customer, not just in your own establishments, but what did they do when they leave there? What are they talking about you? What are they talking about your brands? What are they talking about your competitors' brand? So the more and more you understand your customer, which is impossible now through these big data tools in a very cost-effective manner, the better insight you will have you will learn things about your own brand that you probably would not have known before. And I think that's the key that these tools allow you to do. So that was the first one, first use case. The second one is behavioral and predictive analytics on network data. So this is a use case from a retailer that we supported. And the key here is whether it's a retailer or a hotel chain or for that matter, any other establishment, you have a ton of tools and machines that are out there. So we'll take an example of a retailer here. Retailers have router, they have computers, they have servers, they have all kind of machines, all kind of systems that are out there. They have Wi-Fi access points. So all of these multiple network devices are generating some data. And what we did for this, what the challenge for this, this was particularly for a retailer, was that using an RDBMS environment, they cannot effectively scale or handle this large volume of data, because the data was coming from both structure. The data was both structured and unstructured. So it wasn't cost effective to get all the data and make sense of it and do it fast and do it cost effectively. So what we did, and I'll show you an architecture here, we will able to collect the data from these different sources, and there are multiple sources, including Wi-Fi, including other network devices, like your router, your computer, your iPad, iPhone, whatever that may be. Put that data on Hadoop, and then on top of it, put some kind of visualization tool to understand that data. And the most interesting part here was using the data from those devices. We were able to understand better about our customer, for that retailer's customer, also for about the machine behavior. So the same data could give you two very different insight, and it was very interesting use case. So I'll give you two examples. One was using the Wi-Fi data of how, when a customer comes to your store, and what other sites are they logging onto. So in the case of a retailer, you would assume that the retailer's customers would be going to competitor site to check prices and whatnot. What we learned there, that there was a good chunk of customer going to competitor site, but a large portion of customers were going into sites such as Netflix, YouTube, and whatnot. So the insight, one of the insights you could get is potentially there are mom of a certain age coming with their kids or maybe husbands and giving them those devices and say, you sit and watch this movie while I do my shopping. And these are the interesting insight that, after looking at the data and the pattern and at an aggregate level, obviously, you learn better about your customer. Now, example two of the same, using the same data, we were able to understand the network device behavior better. So we understood for how long a certain device was being used, or at what point it failed, what kind of parameters that were associated with that device, whether it's heat, whether it's network data, log files, and whatnot. So using the data, again, the data was from different sources, but by able to capture all the data, putting it in Hadoop, and then applying data mining and then applying visualization tool on top of it, we were able to get a good understanding of the behavior of both customer and the network device. So it allows us to give insight to that retailer that, at what point, how do you need to market better to your customers? Should you have ads on Netflix when they're in store? Something like that. But there are so many things that were possible because of that insight that they did not know before. And also, obviously, in order to put the Wi-Fi or other network devices, you are making significant investment. You want to make sure you understand how those devices or the investment, what kind of return am I getting? And it would not be possible if you don't understand the behavior that you're generating out of that investment. So again, the key here is you were able to get access to the network data, not only able to bring that data in holistically at one place, but also be able to make sense of the data, also be able to get insight from the data that was not possible before. All right, so let's jump on to our third use case, real-time inventory management. This was actually for another retailer, but this was for a specialized retailer. So, there are retailers that have store-specific inventory. So, I'm selling only, and I'm just giving this as an example, not necessarily that was a retailer. I'm only have this shirt in this particular store. And this is the only size, only color available, but I have all of my inventory for this store online as well. So what happens if you have a customer who's going online and buying that same shirt while coincidentally another customer is in a store and looking at the same shirt and looking to buy it? So you need to have that real-time access to the inventory. So if a customer at stores purchases it, your inventory becomes n-1 online at the same time. So in order to become that omni-channel that most retailers are trying to be, in order to provide a seamless experience to your customers, whether it's in-store, online, and whatnot, you need an underlying IT infrastructure. You need an underlying IT, you need tools and technologies that can help you support those business moves. And in this particular case, the challenge for the retailer was the organization collecting POS data from different systems were in different format. So there were legacy relational data, there were the relational data, and then there was huge latency. So if somebody was buying something online, and if you're not marking up or marking your inventory down in store, chances are you will double sell the same thing to a customer and end up having a bad experience for a customer. So it's really important that you are able to make that inventory pretty much in real time. And this is how we did it. So I'm showing you here an architecture. I don't know how clear it is on the screen now, but what we did was, first thing we did was move that existing EDW data to Hadoop. So what that allowed us to do was establish Hadoop as an enterprise data hub. And we have talked about this concept a whole lot in various Metascale forums. I encourage you to go on metascale.com and check out our webinar on using Hadoop as an enterprise data hub, because that will take another hour or so for me to explain. But many of you are familiar with that concept because we have been talking about it for several years, and then we have seen other vendor partners who are talking about this concept a whole lot. So using Hadoop as an enterprise data hub or a data lake, a repository of our data and whatnot. So the idea here is getting all of your EDW data in the most granular form in Hadoop ecosystem, keeping that data there, and then applying visualization or data mining on top of it. So you are always getting truth. You're always getting single source of truth of your data. So the first thing was moving the EDW data, POS data to Hadoop. Then second, what we did was a combination of Cassandra, Storm, and Kafka implementation. So we get real-time access to that POS data and real-time access through both using Cassandra, Storm, and Kafka to Hadoop. So what happened and what it allowed us to do was, initially when there were batch files that were submitted on a daily basis, using this architecture, we could pretty much in real time see the POS data as part of that enterprise data hub. So when for this specialized retailer, when an item was sold in a store, it will mark the inventory down online also. So you could, when someone is buying it, you could say it's out of stock now. And I mean, it's not a case that will happen every time, but for a specialized retailer that are selling very, very limited inventory specific to a store, that use case is very valuable. But it's valuable to any other retailer. So even for a broadline retailer like our parent company, Sears Holdings, you can buy Kmart on Sears.com. You can go buy in-store. You can order online, pick up in-store, or you can actually order items in-store online. So there are multiple ways of shopping through us. And the part here is all of these systems, all of these channels need to talk to each other. They need to be able to manage inventory, manage delivery, and whatnot. So the use cases like these are applicable not just to specialized retailer, which is what we did, which was a use case for one of our customers, but for any other retailer or any other establishment. But the key here is using the new big data tools like Hadoop, Cassandra, Storm, Kafka, and many others. We have seen that you're able to establish success, build use cases, or build functionalities that were not possible before. You're able to get better insights into your business that you were not necessarily be able to get previously or without investing a lot of money. All right, so key takeaways from the discussion. Do you have data that you don't know what to do? It's very interesting because very recently we were talking to a government organization, and they said, oh, we only have a couple hundred gigabytes of data. But when we talked further, we realized they actually throw away almost 95% of their data, and because they never thought it was useful. But now, with storage becoming really cheap and Hadoop becoming that kind of the most basic use cases, becoming that storage device for you, you could actually keep all the data. You don't have to throw anything. You could keep your log file, you could keep your Outlook file. Not even if you need to do it legally, you could just keep it forever. And then you can build insight on top of it and better understand the behavior of your customer or your devices or whatever else that the data can generate for you. The data hub and single source of truth for all data. And as I briefly mentioned, we have done a webinar on it. We have published white paper. We have written data sheets on it. It's a very strong concept. We encourage that organization move to that position where all of your systems of record are fetching data into Hadoop within the gold layer, and you're keeping the data in the most granular format, and then you're applying visualization on top of it. So the business is able to get the reports they want, but there is single source of truth. The ETL problems, you're kind of getting away from that. So there are not 100,000 Excel and Access documents within the organization, and nobody knows where the original data was. So that requires a lot of data governance. As I said before, it's important that IT and businesses are coming together, and that's where when we consult our clients, we tell them why it is important to to again not only identify use cases, establish success, but also have a long-term strategy of how Hadoop will fit into your system, how you will get data from various systems, how to have that long-term view where things that you want to accomplish a year or two from now, how these big data tools can really help you. And maybe you start with Hadoop, maybe you start with a small cluster today, but how will it grow in future, and what kind of tools and technologies you will need tomorrow to be successful, to be able to meet the strategy for the business that you have in place. The third one is data governance is critical, which I already talked about it. Now the fourth is, again, Hadoop is real. These big data tools are real. I hope by showcasing these three use cases, I have been able to establish that these tools are allowing you to do things that were not necessarily, I wouldn't say not possible before, but not cost effective or not easy to do before. Again, it's important to find a strategic partner to do it for you, because time and again we hear from companies that, Hadoop is open source. I can download this software and just make it work. And time and again they have come back to us and said, can you help us now? And what we suggest is, again, find the right strategic partner who can give you a neutral advice. And I guess I can make a little shameless pitch here that Metascale be your partner there. But irrespective of that, the key here is you need to find a partner who can give you the whole landscape. This market, the whole big data industry is getting crowded with newer vendors every day, and everybody will tell you that their tool will solve all the problem. So it's important that not every tool can solve all the problems. There are some great tools out there, a lot of innovation happening. We love that the Apache community is putting newer tools out there. We love to see that there are professional companies that, companies like LinkedIn and Facebook and others that are putting tools that they have used or built internally and making them open source. So it's helping the community. So certainly, I don't know if this year or the next year is the year of open source, but certainly there are open source tools and technologies that are out there that are becoming more enterprise specific, that are becoming enterprise graded. They're both secure, they're useful, and they are effectively available to you. But don't make the mistake of assuming that it's going to be easy or cakewalk to do so. As I said, you don't always have to hire a vendor, but find a strategic partner who can help you get to a certain point from where on you can actually do it all by yourself. So, and that's what we suggest to our clients. Let us help you get started. Let us build a roadmap for you. Let us set up your infrastructure, which is what we provide at Metascale. We provide Hadoop or other big data appliances for our clients, and we manage them 24/7 for them, so they don't have to worry about building that operational infrastructure, or they don't have to worry about the whole ecosystem of how big data tools will fit into their existing EDW and whatnot. They can focus on business while we can focus on technology and helping them achieve their business results. But we expect that at some point of time, we will train their team and we will give it to them for them to do it. And that's what we suggest, that finding that strategic partner who can help you get to that point is important. And the last piece here is Hadoop allows you to bring BI in-house for cost saving. I guess I've said it enough in using different examples and different formats. So certainly, bottom line, realistic tool, realistic use cases. If you are not thinking about big data today, let me take this opportunity to tell you, either you are behind or you will be doing it. You're already behind if you really need it today, but if either you're behind or may not need it today, but you will definitely need it tomorrow. So the tools are not just for companies with a lot of data. There are many use cases, and we showed you 3, but we have a number of use cases. So I encourage you to go on www.metascale.com. Talk to us. Again, we are here to provide you information so you can make informed decision and find whoever can help you there. But it's important to get all the information, because the technology is not as old as many other technologies that we have seen in the marketplace, but it's able to do things that are pretty eye-popping, that are pretty amazing. So again, if you're not thinking about big data tools today, start on it now so you're not late when you absolutely need it, and find a strategic partner. So thanks a lot for joining us today. Our contact information is given here. So you can write to us at contact@metascale.com or call our 1-800 number. And we have a lot of tools, white papers, webinars, and stuff for you to help with that informed decision. Thank you today.
All righty. Thank you, Ankur.
Thank you. My pleasure.
Now stick around, because part 2 is coming. We're going to take a little bit of a break. We'll be back in about 10 minutes, and we're going to talk about What are we going to talk about?
I guess I forgot to now. We're going to talk about why you should hire Metascale. I'm just kidding. We're going to talk about enterprise challenges associated with Hadoop. I wanted to give a flavor of that it's not, even though it's open source, it's not just a download, install, and play with it. But there are other challenges that companies do not think about. So I hope to give a preview to those challenges today. But again, not every challenge is applicable to every company. And we'll be happy to talk further. But hopefully, through this presentation, we can take them through many general challenges that we've seen many of our customers facing.
Okay. All righty. And with that, we'll see you back here in 10 minutes.
Thank you.